on the road. It truly has been a remarkable start to the season. That's 7 wins in a row away from home to start a season. No team has ever done that in the Championship before. I think only 4 teams have ever done it in the history of the top 4 flights of English football as well. So fantastic from Enzo Maresca and his Foxes, and it was all thanks to a very late, or relatively late, Harry Winks' stunning curling effort that has given the Foxes all 3 points. Matt Elliott, Jerry Taggart and Tony Cotty will be with me, Dan Bates, over the course of the next half an hour or so as we assess that victory. The Leicester fans there, as you can see them at Loftus Road, were making incredible amounts of noise. They're absolutely buzzing with yet another victory. Bad day for him, Gareth Ainsworth again in charge of QPR, but we're concentrating, of course, on Leicester City. Matt Elliott, do you want to sum that up? There's Ricardo there. We just saw a glimpse of him celebrating with those travelling fans. There he is. They're absolutely buzzing, those supporters, and rightly so. It's another win. Yeah,
and that sort of energy there that they're showing there, and delight, and I mean, look at them there in the goal mouth in front of the travelling supporters. You didn't really see, in truth, a lot of that appetite in the game itself. I don't know, that energy maybe. Leicester weren't at their best today for whatever reason. It happens, and collectively they struggle to get their sort of game going as free-flowingly as it can. But you always felt that, we said it before the game, that extra bit of quality that Leicester have will probably prove vital. You expected it to be a little bit more comfortable than it was, and that proved to be the case. This occasion it was Harry Winks. Next week it will be someone else, and the week after that it will be someone else. They've got so many attacking, dangerous options, but
look at those scenes though.
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of, I'm going to use my favourite term, semi-reminiscent of, without getting too carried away, when Leicester went down to Crystal Palace, when the year they won the Premier League, there was similar type. It was a bit early for all that, don't get me wrong, not getting carried away, but it shows the importance of churning out victory after victory, scrappy or not. And like I say, I didn't really see that vitality in the performance. In that celebration is quite telling from supporters and players.
Yeah, I think obviously Leicester not at their best today, but you can see what that win means to not only the fans but the players on the pitch. So another hard-fought win, another unlikely hero in Harry Winks, scoring his first goal this season. But what a finish! And in the end, Matt's already mentioned it, that quality that Leicester possess was the difference today, and that finish was a pure piece of quality. I mean, it was a top-class finish.
And all of those Leicester fans as well. Tony Cotty, I don't know if you can hear us, if you're with us, obviously celebrating with their scarves that were given to them by Kun Top and the club, of course, today. Just bear it says always in our hearts, in reference, of course, to Kun Vishai. 5 years to the day yesterday, unfortunately, of that tragic accident. But Leicester have marked the anniversary with a really good win today.
Absolutely, Dan. Yeah, it was a hard-fought win, and I said it was going to be a tough game for Leicester against QPR. It's a hard place to come to. There's a lot of teams that will come here and struggle because of how the ground is and how the fans are. But the Leicester fans behind the goal, they're still celebrating. They're absolutely delighted with yet another 3 points. But they was made to work for it, Leicester. it didn't come easy today. As the boys said, and I said in commentary, they wasn't at their best. But sometimes it's a sign of a good team. There are going to be times where you don't play well, but if you don't play well and get the 3 points, football is a results business, and that's the only thing that matters. Get those 3 points, push yourself up, 3 more points up in terms of your points tally, and it's hard fought but well earned victory in the end.
Yeah, I'm going just on the back of what Tony's saying. I would say 90 times out of 100 that probably would have ended up a draw, even though QPR went down to 10 men. But because of the quality Leicester possessed, they made that extra man count, but they still had to produce a quality goal to beat QPR today. So fair play to QPR, because they're out on their feet there. They've given Gareth Ainsworth everything they have today, and it, unfortunately for them, wasn't enough. But that is a game that percentage-wise you would say would have ended up as a draw, and thankfully it didn't.
Well, thankfully it didn't, and it didn't probably because of the man that's on the screen behind us at the moment, Matt, and that's Harry Winks, of course.
Yeah, listen, we're talking about class. He's a class operator, isn't he? You know, been some suggestions or some comments attached to him that he's too good for the Championship, and some weeks you can see why. But listen, he seems like a very good professional, just getting on with his business. He's sort of the heartbeat of the team, isn't he? At the moment, you know, all the players around him, you know, both behind and in front, have shown their qualities. But a lot of people think that he's the sort of decisive cog in the machine, really. And it's difficult to just disagree with that, really. See how Leicester would operate without him. We may well do that soon, or see that soon, when because he's on 4 bookings, but hopefully won't pick up another one anytime soon. But yeah, listen, what a finish. And he's not renowned for his goal scoring, but you know that he has that quality, that technique, because it's just sometimes he's not necessarily got power, but he has the technique and precision to curl, dip and place efforts in the top corner. But it's amazing how few occasions that actually materialises. You have to have the right amount of space, the touch out your feet. There's many a times that Winks nearly threatens to shoot, doesn't he? And it doesn't quite fall for him, etc. But yeah, it's another string to Leicester's bow, isn't it? If Winks is joining in the goal scoring stakes. Yeah, it was a truly brilliant finish, Tony Cotty, wasn't it, from Harry Winks? What was your view like from the commentary position of that one?
Yeah, I probably had a better view of the first goal, Dan, in terms of the ball sort of taking the deflection and going in. I was right behind that one with Harry's one. I mean, it's one of those where he's the type of player, and sometimes you think to yourself, you know, perhaps he should shoot a little bit more, because technically he's a very good player. You see him fizz the passes in and that, and it's exactly the technique that he showed to put the ball in the back, and then as soon as he hit it, you're thinking to yourself, that is going to be close. And you know, it's a marvellous goal, it really is, and there's so much pace on the ball, because it's sort of gone past the keeper before he's got time to react. And the celebrations were fantastic as well. And I said, all the players, actually every player went over there, was so thrilled with the fact that Harry had scored the goal, and such a wonderful goal as well. It really was a goal worthy of winning the match.
Yeah, we'll talk about that goal from Harry Winks, hopefully get some reaction as well from Loftus Road over the course of the next 15 or 20 minutes. So do not go anywhere after Leicester City have made it 13 wins out of 14 at the start of this season.
Who wants to join me? Shopping at King Power. 3-day, 2-night stay booked. See ya.
To the rooftop bar.
To snap a photo for my IG.
To eat the famous pad thai.
The new collection is calling me.
Sure, there's a perfume I want. Let me ask my sis.
Yes, of course I'm going. Leicester City, Fox never quit.
Let's go. It's possible, because King Power is more than just duty-free. Shop latest trends in beauty and gadgets, your coolest staycation, the legendary pad thai, best street food in town, a place to support your team, a fancy dinner, enjoy shopping at downtown stores and online, or even the thrill of a new experience. Explore your everyday possibilities. The power of possibilities. King Power.
The new season's nearly here and the opinions are getting stronger.
We've got serious pulling power now.
What? To get the top 2 players now?
Aye?
It's like I've been saying, if he settles the squad, we'll be back on top.
Only this time we're going for the quadruple.
You are joking, aren't you?
The time for talk is nearly over.
With over £4 million in free bet giveaways and huge price boosts, kick off your season with Sky Bet. That's betting better.
Jameson Black Barrel unlocks a richer taste experience from barrels charred black by fire for notes of butterscotch, toasted oak, and, ooh, moments like this.
built different. Breathing new life into broken. Taking matters into your own hands. Assembling big dreams from the small things. Never stopping until you find the right part at the right price. That's the eBay way.
Hello, football fans. This is a smart meter display. It helps you tackle energy usage, manage your spending, and keep you on target. Now that's a hat trick. Search Get a Smart Meter today.
Jameson Black Barrel unlocks a richer taste experience from barrels charred black by fire for notes of butterscotch, toasted oak, and, ooh, moments like this.
The new season's nearly here and the opinions are getting stronger.
We've got serious pulling power now.
What? To get the top two players now?
Right?
It's like I've been saying, if he settles the squad, we'll be back on top.
Only this time we're going for the quadruple.
You are joking, aren't you?
The time for talk is nearly over.
With over £4 million in free bet giveaways and huge price boosts, kick off your season with Sky Bet. That's betting better.
Welcome back to Matchday Live here on Fox This Up after yet another Leicester City victory this afternoon down at Loftus Road. They left it fairly late. Harry Winks with a lovely finish from the edge of the box with about 10 minutes to go has secured all 3 points. Matt Elliott, Jerry Taggart and Tony Cottee are with me, Dan Bates, and hopefully we'll get some reaction as well from QPR over the course of the next 15 minutes or so. But we'll assess that victory yet again. You look at the table, man, I mean, it's 14 clear still of third place Leeds after 14 games. 5 clear of Ipswich, albeit they have a game in hand as well. It really has started probably better than any of the expectations pretty much of any Leicester fan.
Yeah, very healthy position to say the least, isn't it? But can't ask for much more, really, can you? Listen, I suppose it's a good thing, and the manager keeps reiterating it, and I'm sure the players will agree with him. There's still room for improvement as well, I think, in terms of overall consistency of level of performance. You know, they show good control in most games, etc., but they don't sort of set the world alight too often, in phases, in spells every now and then. But if they can sort of increase those periods of intensity of level of play, then you really are talking. But I think they'll have more than enough, more than sufficient to see them through for the task ahead, which is ultimately getting back into the Premier League, isn't it? And without being too flippant about it, most people think it's pretty much nailed on already, don't they? Even people externally, I'm talking about. You know, it's sort of almost a given. But it's not going to be as straightforward as that. There's plenty of work to do.
Yeah, Tony, obviously there were wins for 3rd and 4th place, Leeds and Southampton respectively today, putting the pressure on, of course, but 14 points is a lot. Was today the type of victory when you've maybe not been your best in a hostile environment to go and get that victory with 10 minutes to go? Is that the sign of a side that are going to finish fairly high up in the table?
Oh, absolutely, Dan, yeah, and I think Enzo will be pleased with that, you know, but the fact that they've not played particularly well, you know, plenty of spells of possession, you know, long spells of possession from Leicester, but just that final ball at times let them down, and they just sort of almost had one of those games. And you know, when Cassidy put that header over where he really should have scored in the first sort of 15-20 minutes, and you see, oh, is it going to be one of those games? You know, and credit to QPR down in that bottom 3. I thought they played really well, they defended really well, particularly when they went down to 10 men. But you know, from Leicester's point of view, it was one of those games. You know, you're not at your best, but you get the 3 points, and then you move on to next week. And they've got a couple of tough games coming up, haven't they, Leicester? And then, you know, the next few weeks there's some really tough games coming up. And every game is tough in the Championship, and it just goes to prove that if you're just slightly off your game, you can make things difficult for yourself, which is what Leicester did today. But ultimately, as I said earlier, sign of a good team, you don't play well, you get the 3 points.
Yeah, I think it's important as well as not to get bored of winning, and not, do you know what I mean? No, but seriously, you're talking about pressure, and so there's pressure on to win the next game, even though there's a 14-point gap between Leicester and third place. So I think it's important to keep that feeling going when you win a game like that, and also Tuesday night, you know, when you came up against a team that, you know, if the game had ended 1-1 on Tuesday night and again today, you couldn't have had too many complaints. Okay, so but Leicester have won that, so it's important to reiterate that winning feeling, and then get back and start putting in some better performances is the wrong way of saying it, like top class performances that we have seen. Some will have, you know, more control in games, and get back on saying, right lads, we've got a weighable one today. We weren't our best. It's taking a bit of class from Harry Winks to get us over the line. Right, let's get back up to where we know we can get to and try and stay on that path.
Yeah, I think on that subject, you saw it with the celebrations at the end.
Yeah.
They I wouldn't say they surprised me, but they did mildly. You know, really looking at the intensity of them, because, like you say, you could almost not be forgiven for, but expect like Leicester to go. They won that game. Okay, they weren't the best, but they probably expected to get a goal somewhere, even though it didn't particularly look that threatening for long periods. But at the end, you might think, oh yeah, there you go. It was QPR. It was we expected to win it anyway. We just about did the job. We got away with it a little bit, and just sort of jog your way back down the tunnel. But it was quite the opposite, wasn't it? It was like they'd won semi-final of a cup or something.
I wonder if the Kunvishai factor had anything to do with it. Maybe the connection between the supporters.
Yeah, but you're seeing that at most games at the end, aren't you? You know, intense celebrations. So that's something that's been instilled into them by the manager, but they've obviously picked up on the vibe themselves. There's, you know, an extra determination to right some wrongs from last year, probably, and it was good to see. It's encouraging going forward. Yeah,
they're giving the supporters something to enjoy at the moment, Tony Cottee, aren't they? And as Matt rightly says, obviously there was huge disappointment last season. The supporters didn't get to witness many good moments, did they, across the whole campaign? So 13 wins out of 14 at the start of this one. They have every right to celebrate every game they win.
Absolutely, and you know, the supporters, you know, there was, I think it was getting on for 3,000 Leicester fans here today, and they loved it as well. They loved the Harry Winks goal, and they loved the celebrations that you're describing at the end. You know, the players went over to the fans, and you're in it together, and you know, there's nothing worse as a player when you have one of those seasons where you're losing games and the confidence goes and the head goes down and the fans are moaning. It's the most horrible feeling. You know, we've been there, you know, as players. On the other hand, when you get a season where it all goes right, and it's a fantastic feeling. You're winning football matches, and you know, they did celebrate as if they'd won through to a cup final. But you know, that's what it means. And you know, these Leicester players, you know, the players that were here last season at the club, they've got a point to prove to themselves, to the fans, and to the football world in general, that Leicester City shouldn't be in the Championship. They are. It's a fact. You've got to get on with it. But you know, enjoy every moment of it, because these seasons are great, because you go into the games, as we've spoke about on a Monday night, full of confidence, enjoying it. You know, you're going to win the games and score goals, and just enjoy it and milk it for everything that you've got, because these seasons are few and far between in your career.
Yeah, I mean, Leicester only won 9 games, Jerry, in the league last season, and they've already won 13 this campaign.
Yeah, you know, it's right. You know, the reaction of the fans, you know, and maybe there is a little bit of payback for the fans, or to the fans from the players in the celebrations, and rightly so. Tony's absolutely right. You should enjoy every winning moment, you know, because as we all know, sometimes it doesn't happen that often. At the minute, it's happening every week, so you enjoy it and milk it, as Tony rightly says, because who knows what's going to happen further on down the line? We don't know, but at the minute, you know, things are looking really good.
Yeah, it brings sort of like a subconscious positivity as well between the players. You know, you pick up on that energy, and you reflect on sort of good times that you've achieved as a group as well, and it just gives you that extra buzz, and you can use it as a motivational thing going into a game. Talk about mindset and preparation. You say, I remember how good that feeling was when we beat QPR. We probably weren't at our best, but it was just as important as any other 3 points, whatever, whichever game you want to look back on. And just it sort of internally, it sets your mind right, and then when you get the job done, whatever it is, then you can be pleased with yourself and your teammate, and let everyone know about it. Supporters, a bit of a release of frustration as well. Yeah, fair point there, but you just get a feel sometimes, don't you? And Leicester players and supporters alike sort of picking up on it, and it's carrying them along as well as the technical aspect from the manager.
Yeah, I think you talk about pressure in football, and today you've seen the two opposite ends of the scale of pressure and what pressure can do. Obviously QPR under a lot of pressure, the manager wrong end of the table. Leicester under pressure to keep this winning run going, for the fans, for themselves. Embrace, it's a different kind of pressure than it is from being at the bottom of the league, absolutely, but it's still a pressure that you have to deal with, because no one wants to be in that team when that defeat comes after winning the last 13 games or winning 13 games out of 14. So embrace it and carry it through.
Yeah, I guess scoring with 10 minutes to go, Tony, as Jerry's saying there, the opposite ends, QPR were probably, desperately with 10 men hanging on to get a point, weren't they? Leicester probably had the confidence, the fact that they'd won their previous 12 games out of 13, that they were probably going to have chances and they were probably going to score.
Yeah, absolutely, and as I said, I think in commentary, Leicester were the better team. As soon as the game kicked off, you could tell Leicester were the better team. But that doesn't mean anything in football. You have to prove you're the better team, and you have to score more goals. But once the sending off incident happened, it was always going to be very, very difficult for QPR, and you just felt that Leicester was somehow or other there was going to create some sort of chance, or something was going to happen that would help them to get that second goal, and it was a fabulous goal as well. But I just felt Leicester were going to control the game. Once QPR were down to 10 men, it's very, very difficult with 10 men, but Leicester, for me, they just stepped it up a little bit. They controlled the game, they run the time down, they didn't afford QPR any chances where they could get back in, an equalising goal, and at the end it was a deserved 3 points.
I think again, Tony rightly says there, but I think Enzo will be pleased that they stayed patient. They didn't try and rush it. Yes, they were moving the ball quicker in that second half, and you could see that they were getting up the pitch quicker, camped on the edge of the QPR's final third. Obviously a lot more with them down to 10, but they didn't rush it. And the actual opening that comes for Harry Winks, it's brilliantly made because of their patience. As Matt says, it's very few and far between the times where the ball comes to you, you get it out of your feet, and you can steady yourself and take a shot and not be under pressure. Very few times. So they actually work the space for Harry Winks fantastically well.
Yeah, and I guess when you look at the forward quality players that Leicester had, it's kind of one of the first times. I was trying to rack my brains how many times Vardy and Iheanacho have been on the pitch at the same time this season. It's not been many.
Yeah, it was short-lived as well, though, wasn't it? It came, I don't know, possibly could have happened a little bit earlier, really, but then, the sending off as well, that affected things, didn't it? 'Cause Leicester got the goal pretty soon after, didn't they?
4 minutes they were on the pitch together.
Yeah.
But a minute after the change was made, the
goal came, didn't it? Yeah. Sort of, I don't know if you could directly put it down to Vardy and Iheanacho being there. Perhaps, possibly, I haven't sort of looked at it or scrutinised it too in depth, but perhaps more of the centre halves were occupied by those two, creating a bit of space on the edge of the box, though, because there were more players in dangerous areas. But but then, so they get the lead, and Maresca thinks, right, okay, we'll just be a little bit reserved and take Vardy off. He'd probably run his course a little bit, I suppose, but then it's a matter of sort of seeing it out, but still having one or two opportunities to extend the lead, finish the game off, wasn't it? But No, it was pretty. I don't know. It wasn't spectacular to watch, was it? And at times it isn't with Leicester, but it's. Yeah, you look at the stats there. They didn't play particularly well, but they did more than edge the important areas of the game. You know, greater shots on target, etc. Corners, general pressure within the game, and that was Leicester nowhere near their best. But yeah, listen, all round things look pretty impressive, don't they? Whichever variation of attack that he plays, the options, like you say, he's got a certain individual, Patson Daka, who doesn't really get a sniff at the moment, but he's there if needed. Pretty much every team in this division would love to have him on board.
Tony, big game next up, of course, for Leicester on Friday evening is Leeds United at home, the side that are in third place. I mean, a victory would extend the lead to Leeds to 17. Even a draw would be a good result, presumably, here at King Power Stadium. I don't know how you see that one.
Yeah, and it's going to be another tough game, Dan, isn't it? No doubt about that. And Leeds have picked up as well. It's sort of, a bit of a sluggish start, but they've gone on a good run of form, and it's going to be a tough game. Certainly a game to look forward to for the fans. Because they're the sort of the games that you turn up for. But Leicester can't ask for any more than what they are at the moment. They're in good form, as in winning football matches. Yeah, of course it wasn't free flowing today, but they've done the job. They've got the 3 points, and that's the main thing. And everyone can now look forward to what's going to be a really, really cracking game on Friday.
Yeah, I'm sure you're looking forward to that one on Friday, Jerry.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of people looking forward to that. Obviously Leeds coming down with Leicester last season had a bit of a tough start, but have picked up. They've scored 24 goals they've scored so far this season. He scored 4 today and beaten Huddersfield in the early kick-off. They've conceded 15, so you'd like to think this will be a high-scoring game, really, wouldn't you?
You wouldn't imagine Leeds will come to sit off, would you?
No. No, I think this is
the way they're going.
A bit like Sunderland. Yeah, listen, but you're expecting Leeds to come here and try and win the game.
They
and
were 4-0 up at half-time today.
4-0, was it? I know it was 3 at least, yeah. Liam Moore in the studio.
He is, yeah, on Friday evening, yeah.
That'd be good.
Absolutely.
Nice to see him, yeah. If I get a chance.
Depends if you're on commentary or not, Matt.
I am the commentary, yeah. Tags on the city.
Jerry's in it. Well, we can preview that now, actually. Then. Yes, do join us on Friday evening then for Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub, as Matt has rightly pointed out. We've got Liam Moore in the studio on Friday. Before that, though, is extra time on Monday evening. Do join us for that from 6 p.m. To assess today's victory at QPR. Then, as we've said there, from 7 you can hear from Liam Moore, and there's a latest episode of Leicester's the Place. Martin O'Neill in conversation with Jerry Taggart and Matt Elliott. Well worth either a listen wherever you get your podcasts or watching that on Fox's Hub and YouTube. You're still smiling about that now.
Still churning it out, yeah, still going.
Yeah, because it was a good hour and a half.
We've got another good podcast coming up in the week.
Yeah. Absolutely, Matt.
I won't divulge just yet.
Don't give anything away. We've got a nice Leicester's the Place special guest as well coming up for you. Big thank you to Tony Cotty, who made that trip down to Loftus Road to see Leicester win in person again today. Speak to you on Monday, Tony. Thanks to Jerry Taggart and to Matt Elliott again for their company this afternoon on a record extending day for the Foxes. They have now made it 13 wins out of a possible 14 at the start of this championship season. Goodbye.